Hello, BookTube. Well, it's a bleak and barren Sunday when the whole point of my complaining universe is that I'm not getting books in the mail. But I still have books to show you. Because, once again, I swear, I keep a close watch on my mail. But once again, yesterday, uh, the U.S. mail truck dropped off the its shipment of books. I get the FedEx and UPS in the morning. I get the U.S. mail carrier who walks by with his shoulder bag and letters and magazines and whatnot. Maybe the occasional small package. And then there's the U.S. mail truck. The, I have a tub of my own. It drives by on a regular basis, a daily basis, and I must have missed it yesterday. I had Malin Moore, my beautiful, sweet old dog. I had her. I wonder if I could show it to you. Can I show her to you? She is sound asleep right on the other side of the packages. Uh, I had her out last night late, and there was nothing. I could swear there was nothing. And this morning, there they were. So I don't think that the circuit driver does deliveries on a Sunday. I think, in fact, that according to his union rules, he can't. But I'm not looking a gift pile of books in the mouth, especially since as one of you pointed out once upon a time, one previous time where this happened, where I got Sunday mail, and was actually kind of edging, like I'm doing now, kind of edging towards complaining about that fact. One of you rather delicately pointed out that 7 or 8 packages in the mail represents for most people a year, not a day that I happen to miss, much less half a day. This is technically half of yesterday's mail, so so I'm not going to complain at all. Instead, we're just going to go through these and see what kind of trouble we can get into. We'll start with this tiny little thing here. I don't know what this could possibly be, but I'm happy to share these things because you don't seem to mind going through my mail with me, and I absolutely love it. So, well, let's see what this is. Oh God. It looks like a slim volume of poetry. Oh my god. Oh my god, it is. Alright, so this is a slim volume of poetry. It's called Waypoints by John Delaney. A rather pretty thing. But it's not in my bailiwick. It's not. It would be almost pointless for me to try and review a slim volume of poetry. I'd give it a try once or twice a year. But other than that, no. So let's just move on to the next one. What is this? What is this next one? It's also skinny. If it's in second volume of poetry, I don't know what I'm going to do. No, it's not a second volume of poetry. All things literary. Okay. Okay. So this comes out in September, and it is by Melissa Fratterigo, and it is called Glory Days. So that is the cover. That's a rather nice cover. The small plains town of Ingleside, Nebraska, is populated by down-on-their-luck ranchers and new money, ghosts and seers, drugs and greed, the haves and the have-nots. Lives ripple through each other with surprising effect, though the connections fluctuate between divisive gulfs and the most intimate closeness. At the center of this novel is the story of Teensy and his daughter Luann, who face the loss of their land even as they mourn the death of Luann's mother. On the other end of the spectrum, some townspeople find enormous wealth when developers begin buying up acreages. When Glory Days, an amusement park, hence the cover, when Glory Days is erected, past and present collide, and the attachment to the land is fully severed, and the invading culture ushers in even darker times. Okay. All right. Oh, God help us. That's okay. Okay, so somebody at Booklist, who should be fired immediately, blurbed it this way. If Willa Cather and Cormac McCarthy had a love child, she would be a writer such as Fratterigo, whose imagery is equally evocative. Equally evocative to who, I have no idea, since all I can think about is Willa Cather and Cormac McCarthy having a love child. I just, who are you, Melissa? Who are you? There's the author of Glory Days, University of Nebraska Press, and the short story collection The Longest Pregnancy, which was done by the Livingston Press. Her fiction and nonfiction have appeared in more than 40 literary journals and anthologies, from Shenandoah to the Massachusetts Review. Twice nominated for Pushcart Awards. Wow, good for her. She's won the Sam Adams Zoetrope All-Story Short Fiction Contest. She is founder and executive director of the Lafayette Writers Studio in Lafayette, Indiana. Oh my. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. All right, so it's a novel. It comes out, when did we say? It comes out in the fall? Yes, September 1st. All right, very interesting. I don't think I've ever got anything from All Things Literary. But that sounds good. The book itself sounds good. So let's see. Let's move on to this next one. What is this? Finished copy of something? Oh, okay. All right. This is from Harvard University Press, and this comes out in mid-August, and it is called American Niceness, a cultural history of American niceness by Carrie Tirado Brahman. The cliche of the ugly American, loud, vulgar, materialistic, chauvinistic, still expresses what people around the world dislike about their Yankee counterparts. The author recovers the history of a very different national archetype, the nice American, which has been the central to ideas of American identity since the 19th century. Niceness is often assumed to be a superficial concept unworthy of serious analysis. Don't tell that to the Canadians. Yet the distinctiveness of Americans has been shaped by the values of sociality and likability for which the adjective nice became a catch-all. In America's fledgling democracy, niceness was understood to be the indispensable trait of a people who were refreshingly free of old-world snobbery. The author elucidates the role of niceness played in a particular fantasy of American exceptionalism, one based not on military and economic might, but on friendliness and openness. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Loud, vulgar, materialistic, and chauvinistic is certainly the order of the day for Americans. But maybe this book is it sounds like it's a counterbalance to that. How interesting. Okay, great. So this comes out in a couple of weeks, and it's a work of history. So let's move on. Let's see what we can do next. Let's see what we can do next in this. I don't know whether to call this the last mail haul of last week or the first mail haul of this week. I don't know. It's weird. It happened on a Sunday. Oh no! It's another slim volume of poetry. It's by Maureen McLean. It's called Some Say. Again, a nice cover design. But okay, so this came out on July 3rd, which in the publishing world is about 9 years ago. And it will not be my concern. So let's just move on. Let's move on to something that might be. This thing here is this. I don't know if I mentioned, this ends with a box. We have a box at the end of this at the fair. Oh, okay. Okay, I think we've seen this before on this channel. This must be the finished copy in paperback. This is 7th Street Press, publisher of murder mysteries. And this is the Sorbonne Affair. I don't know if we saw this or not. This is by Mark Pryor, the author of The Paris Librarian. Another fine cover. The author lives in Austin, Texas. Someone is spying on American author Helen Hancock. While in Paris to conduct research and teach a small class of writers, she discovers a spy camera hidden in her room at the Sorbonne Hotel. She notifies the U.S. Embassy, and former FBI profiler Hugo Marston is dispatched to investigate. Almost immediately, the stakes are raised from surveillance to murder when the hotel employee who appears to be responsible for bugging Hancock's room is found dead. The next day, a salacious video clip explodes across the internet, showing the author in the embrace of one of her writing students. Both are naked, and nothing is left to the imagination. Sounds like the time the room Deb and I had at the Sorbonne Hotel was bugged. There was no internet then, and when the tape was discovered, the hotel paid us to leave. All right, so a murder mystery, wonderful, and starring a writer. Those are always fun. So let's see here. Actually, that plot sounds very similar to Venetian Blood, a book that we saw on this channel just a little while ago. Also about an expat American who goes to a European city and has to team up with people there to clear herself of wrongdoing charges. That's interesting. Oh my! Oh, look at that. This is by Richard Fiddler, and it is Ghost Empire. You can't see, but that's these raised letters. Very nice. A Journey to the Legendary Constantinople. My. Very nice. Okay, this comes out in early September, so I don't have to worry about this for what has turned out to be a brutally overcrowded August. I don't know how that happened. I was looking at it. It feels like just yesterday I was looking at August and I was thinking, oh, this is not going to be much of a month. Now it's like 500 books. Just kidding. It's not 500 books, but it's a lot. I have a lot of them here. More than I could possibly review and still have a life. If I wrote 2 full-length reviews a day for the entire length of August, I might be able to do it. I might be able to get all of the books I have reviewed. But I couldn't do that because I have a lot of other venues. I have a lot of other things to do. Not things to do. Don't be worried, BookTube. I don't have a life. I have a lot of other writing to do than just doing Open Letters Monthly reviews. So but anyway, let's see here. So it starts with the epigraph that it starts with is a quote from Napoleon. If the earth were a single state, Constantinople would be its capital. Guy never did anything but talk sheepdip, I tell you. Constantinople was the greatest wonder of its age, filled with ancient wisdom, exotic goods, and holy relics. 1,000 years ago, Constantinople was the greatest city in Europe, with more than 10 times the population of London or Paris. A bustling metropolis while the rest of Europe was plagued with the Dark Ages, poverty, and illiteracy. Constantinople was home to universities and law schools, hospitals with women doctors, precious Greek and Latin manuscripts on philosophy, math, and literature. The gold and copper domes of the city's skyline welcomed merchants from Venice, China, India, Africa, Russia, beckoning these visitors with promise of wonder and pleasure. Ghost Empire is a rare treasure, an utterly captivating blend of historical and contemporary, narrated by a master storyteller. Steve is intrigued. Who is this master storyteller? All right, well, first of all, he's young. And he has a radio show or radio program broadcast across Australia on ABC Radio called Conversations with Richard Fiddler. Those of you from Down Under, where Steve has never visited, do you know this person? Is he famous? Is he liked? He has interviewed prime ministers, astronauts, writers, and scientists, but the program often features remarkable people who are unknown to the wider world. The program is the most popular podcast in Australia, with over 1 million downloaded programs every month. In Another Life, I was wondering if we were ever going to hear about his other life. That's 2/3 of his author bio about a podcast. In Another Life, Richard was a member of Australian comedy trio with Doug Anthony All-Stars, which played to audiences all over the world. And then, having heard the rest of that author bio, the paragraph ends somewhat unnecessarily with, "This is his first book." Yes, I should think, if it weren't his first book, I should think he would have mentioned it in the first 20,000 lines of his author bio. But what an ambitious thing for a first book. Boy, now I wonder what it'll be like. Oh, boy. Okay, and then the box, and then we'll be done. But now all I want to do is read Ghost Empire. So so what is this thing? Do we have an entrance port here? My scissors will be useless against a cardboard box. I'll just have to tear it open by main force. What can this be? Oh boy. Okay, we've seen an example of this already. It's not coming quietly. This is Reader's Digest. This is the Reader's Digest volume that they come out with, I guess, every month. I guess I'm going to get one of these every month. Which it's just what Reader's Digest itself used to be. It's just excerpts from longer works in one nice bound hardcover. I got through the last one. I read it and loved it. It was... Okay, so what have we got here? So this will be excerpts from Nick Petrie's Burning Bright, in which an investigative journalist is on the run, and I read that one. So maybe I won't have to read the excerpt. Then, by Phaedra Patrick, there's an excerpt from The Curious Charms of Arthur Pepper. Arthur Pepper is a simple man, a recent widower with a lifelong history of precise, unexciting habits. He always thought his wife Miriam had shared his quiet ways, but that may not be true. A gold charm bracelet he finds hidden among her things leads Arthur on an epic quest in search of his wife's secret past. Now, that I have not read. So this will be an abridgment, a huge abridgment of it, but it'll give me a taste to know whether I want to read the whole thing. And then the next one is The Vanishing Year by Kate Moretti. As the beautiful wife of a Wall Street tycoon, Zoe Whittaker is leading a charmed life. She's a member of Manhattan's social elite. She lives in a penthouse. She travels the world, but she has a secret. 5 years ago, her life was in danger, and Zoe wasn't Zoe at all. Okay. I don't think I've read that either. That doesn't ring a bell at all, and I want to. And then the last one is, oh God, the author's name. Oh my. Clelie, Clelie Avit, A-V-I-T. The description is, the book is I'm Still Here. And the description is, Elsa is in a coma, seemingly lost to the world, except that she is very aware of everyone around her. Tybalt, seeking refuge from the turmoil of his own family, stumbles upon Elsa in the hospital and finds himself unexpectedly taken with this silent young woman. He speaks to her, and suddenly she has something to fight for. And so begins the most unusual relationship and a love story that might save them both. Okay. All right. Fantastic. So there you go. Reader's Digest one. Who knew? I mean, I've been very much enjoying my subscription, but I totally forgot you get these books. And I'm overjoyed with it. So you get Reader's Digest, then Ghost Empire, Richard Fiddler's first book. I want to hear from those of you in Australia. Sounds like he's fairly big deal in Australia. Then The Sorbonne Affair, then 2 slim volumes of poetry, and then Glory Days, a novel, and then a serious history, American Niceness, about the rival American characteristic, not the brash, materialistic, ugly American, but the other kind of American that has a history of its own. That's just fascinating. So all in all, not just a Sunday mail haul, but a pretty good one. So Steve is happy. You don't usually see Steve happy on a Sunday. So soak it up. I'll be back soon. Thank you, BookTube.